feeling very emotional this morning. And some of it's hormonal. But I've got a lot of very complex, even maybe complicated things going on in my head right now. So I might not make a lot of sense. But I feel I need to untangle this all. And I need to talk out loud. And maybe I don't need to share it with the world, but I'm going to. Because part of what I'm feeling is lonely, and I'm feeling like I need to connect with another human being, even if that person is thousands of miles away. Part of my life path has been a very profound and deep sense of loneliness. And I don't always feel that way. The closer I come to God, the less I experience that on a regular basis. But this path I'm walking is lonely by its very nature, insofar as other human beings go. Like, I'm never alone because I have God. But being on a spiritual journey, the further I go down this path, the less attachments I have, the less things I hold on to, the less caught up I am in these games that we like to play in our civilized world, our societies, our culture here in the United States of America, where everyone's a consumer or a producer, and that's how we find our meaning. I don't buy it. I never have. I don't play that game. And I also have to stay alive and meet my needs. And there's this dance I've always done. And sometimes the dance feels more like a fight. And I've come to accept myself fully. Like, I know who I am. I know the heart that God's given me. And so therefore I don't have to worry about what other people think of me. But the fact of the matter is that a lot of people have rejected me and pushed me away because I don't play the games. Because I speak my truth unabashedly and unashamedly, and above all else, having integrity and doing what I believe is right. To me, that comes first before anything else, before reputation, before playing games, before professional success. And that can be quite isolating, and it is. And so sometimes I feel lonely. And I'm not trying to paint myself as this person who has, like, no problems, and, like, the only reason a person wouldn't want to be around me is because they have a problem. No, I'm just not some people's cup of tea. There's that too. Like, that's fine. But what I'm saying is it's slim pickings insofar as company. Because I am picky about... I have standards. Like, I don't want to surround myself with people who are going to tempt me in certain ways, or you know, I don't want to surround myself with people who act in certain ways who might tempt me to go astray. And our world is full of people who are not on a path like the one I'm on, which is a path of letting go, of non-attachment, of I want to be a renunciant. That's the direction I've been walking in for a long time. I'm trying to extract myself from the system. And I'm trying to do it in a wise an intelligent way where I don't end up harming myself or others, like putting myself in a bad position. It's like living a simple life in many ways has been made very difficult because of the way that the world is set up now, where everything is so expensive and you need money for everything, and just finding your own little corner of the world where you can just live simply and grow food and meditate, like even all that's expensive. So but money's not the only way. And when you are addicted to less and you are attached to less, you do need less money. And so even though I've not been able to at this time, as of now, I still rely on money. I don't need a lot because of the way I choose to live. I live out of my vehicle. I'm not tied to a mortgage. I'm not tied to rent. I have car insurance and I have to eat. Those are my things I have to have money for at this time, based on the way I'm choosing to live my life. And what I would like is to find a situation, put myself in a place where I don't even need a vehicle, and where I'm able to grow my own food, because that's freedom. And that's real to me. That's real. That's actually engaging with life. It's like be able to meet my own needs directly. So that's what I'm aiming towards and I'm walking towards. And my whole life has been about just dropping baggage, sloughing things off, letting go of attachments, to end up in that place, in that sort of situation. And it's a lonely walk. And yes, the further along I get, the closer I get to God. And so I'm never really all alone. I know that. But insofar as having another human being next to me to talk to cuddle with, to hold hands with, it doesn't even have to be like an intimate partner insofar as like a lover, but just human connection. To laugh with, to see things with, to have a shared experience. Like, we all long for that. And that's why I feel like a lot of people go along with things that are not necessarily in line with their values because of that component, because it's lonely not to. When the whole world around you is doing a certain thing, well, being social creatures, we tend to go with the pack. I won't sell my soul for that. If I have to be lonely, if that's what it means, and if maintaining my integrity and walking with God means letting go of most people, then that's what I'll do. And that's what I have done. I'm feeling that today. I'm feeling a little lonely. And I'm very grateful for the very few people that I do have in my life that I feel I can trust. It's not many. I trust myself. And it's my discernment which has led me to a place of not having a lot of friends. Because I can see what people value most by the way they behave and the way they spend their time. And I used to go along to get along in many ways and compromise here and there, for the sake of having a friend, even if that friend was not really like someone in the long run that I could trust. And I had to learn that the hard way. So I don't know if I'm making sense, guys. I'm sorry if I'm not. It's just, I need to untangle this knot. I feel like I'm coming very close to that moment where I let it all go completely. Some of what I think I'm feeling right now is that I'm standing on a precipice and trying to get up the nerve to jump, and jumping means letting it all go finally, There's not much left to let go of. And what I mean by that is attachments. I'm not attached to attachments, but I think some part of me was still attached to the idea of having an attachment, if that makes any sense. There's not a part of, I don't believe that there is anything in this material world that is going to lead to me feeling whole and complete and happy. I do feel already a deep sense of completeness and wholeness. And I think I've had this experience of feeling like I often use an analogy of a house on fire to describe our situation as humans. We're all asleep in the house on fire and we're having this really great dream that no one wants to wake up from, meaning we don't want to acknowledge reality, and the cost of not acknowledging reality is that we will perish. And most of my life I've had this experience of being in a house on fire with my family and knowing I gotta get out of here. If I'm gonna live, if I'm gonna survive, if I'm gonna thrive, I gotta get out of here. And trying and shaking them and being please, please, please wake up. This house is on fire. You gotta get out, And realizing that okay, there comes a time when if they're not gonna fucking get up out of bed and run out the door, you're gonna go down with them. And I think that's where I'm at right now. It's the last few seconds of hello, I can't save anybody. I think that I have a responsibility to my brothers and sisters to speak what I know to be the truth in my heart and be real for the sake of trying to help keep them on a true path, a right path, a loving path. But you can't force anybody, and it's not right to do that. Everybody has their own life, and you don't end up saving anybody by going down on a sinking ship with them. You can say, hey, here's a life raft, you want to get on, I'm headed out. And if they don't get on, then they don't get on. And it may sound very it's Shalom, who are you? What do you know? Well, I know the way we're doing things in this world isn't right, and I know it's not godly, and it's hard to see people that you love so wrapped up in this shit, and so sick from it, and like everybody just wants to be loved. Everybody's trying to feel love. You know? It's like, how do you best love somebody? It's a hard fact, but it's true that sometimes the best way you love people is by walking away from them. Like, not giving up on people, but just like allowing people to live their own life and not trying to force your will or your perspective onto them about how you think they ought to be living. And it's hard, it's like we have interventions for people who are addicted to alcohol or drugs, but like, who's intervening with all of us about the way we're all fucking living, which is like the same thing. We're all addicts. We're all sick. We're all headed towards an early fucking grave in this culture, the way we're doing things. But we don't view that as like sick. It's just normal. The perversion has become so ubiquitous that like the wrong things are now right, and if you speak out about that, you're labeled as wrong and crazy, and something about you needs to change, and like I'm done subjecting myself to it. I will always stand up for what is right, but I feel like the last 6 months in particular, I've kind of like been on the front lines of a spiritual battle, where I like came out of the woods like, okay, I'm gonna like, we're doing this, and just calling out the bullshit left and right, and then being told that I'm an asshole and I'm judgmental. No, I'm discerning, and I'm like, we all need to be calling out the bullshit, okay? And when I call out bullshit, it's not about tearing down an individual, it's about pointing out an action that's wrong. I have love in my heart, and love is ruthless. You do no one a favor by allowing them to behave destructively towards themselves or others. That's not loving. You don't have to call them a dirty, rotten piece of shit, but you have to say what you're doing is harmful. There's a lot of harmful things going on in this world. And it's like, you see something, you say something. That's how it ought to be. But like, I can't walk out of my fucking front door without just being bombarded with wickedness. It's not all I see. I am capable of seeing beautiful things. What I see that's beautiful is what God made. And living in harmony with that, that's beautiful. There's not a lot of people in the cities living that way. In our overall culture, there's not a lot of people committed to living in harmony and really understanding our natural role in this system. And I don't. I think it's time to just to go and be a part of making another way. Stop and like stop putting my effort into trying to convince people of things or singing to the choir. You know, I just need to go do, and that's me jumping off up the fucking cliff into the water, not to my death. I'm not meaning that. I'm saying having faith, letting go, jumping out into the unknown and trusting that God's got me. But I think that's where all of this emotion is coming from. It's just like a mixture of many things, like sadness, loneliness, anger, hopefulness, nervousness, like all of it. Once you start down a spiritual path, it's like there's no turning back, you know. Like once you've seen things, you can't unsee them. You can't unknow them. And the truth is, we're living in paradise. Everything we could possibly want or need is provided for us. I think we're experiencing the death rattles of a dying system. I do believe that people are waking up. Hi. The squirrel. And I think we're in this kind of like liminal space. It's like when you first wake up and you're a little bit groggy, you know? It's like people are there. It's like starting to recognize that we've been under a spell, that we've been having a dream, that we're not quite sure what's real. We're getting our wits about us. And that is the deconstruction of this system, the falling away, the dissolving. And then from the ruins of that, we will very intentionally and painstakingly build something new. Or another analogy would be that the decay of this system, the death, the remains will be the compost from which a new, beautiful, beautiful garden of earthly delights, heavenly delights can emerge. I think we're on our way to the kingdom. I believe that in my heart. I'll see you guys there.